Andrew Dixon, welcome to East Gosford. Yes, we're pleased to be here in Milestone Mellanova's boardroom. We thank them. So welcome to Business Insider.
Thanks, Mark.
And you've really only just qualified, haven't you? You know, you're 11 months, 12 months old.
Yeah, our new business is about 12 months old almost.
Yeah.
Coming up for our anniversary, which is pretty exciting times.
Yeah. Well, you're still smiling.
Yes,
so you're
still smiling, still getting
you're
sleep.
still in shock or whatever.
Still trading.
So tell me, what have you found? You know, 9 months or 11 months into it, are there things that have surprised you about running your own business?
Look, I've run businesses before, and I guess the key to this business is...
And I should say, Managing Director of...
Andrews Neil.
Andrews Neil.
Yeah.
Yes, you've been running businesses, but this is you now.
This is
your name is on there.
Yeah, there's two of us. It's Ben White and myself, and I guess we decided fairly early on that with this new practice that we were going to look at a different approach to architecture. So I guess our assumptions at the outset of it were that having the two of us being the face of the business was going to be the brand or the marketing, I guess. That's proving to be the case, which we're mildly surprised at. It's always good when the business plan comes to fruition.
Yeah.
But I guess there are things that you assume at the time that are going to be one way, like running the business and managing the business in a certain way, that are slightly different. And I guess those differences are part of the daily challenge that make it interesting.
So be specific. We've got businesses out here that are hanging on.
Yeah.
Hey, am I unusual in this? And the fact is, they're not unusual. You've just had a couple of those issues. Yeah. So can you share one or two of them? Or?
Yeah, look, I guess the first thing is running your own business, you're responsible for everything. In a larger organisation, you generally have a support group of people around you. Smaller business, not the case at all. It's
you
up to
are
you.
The support group.
You are the support group. If you don't get your invoices out, you don't get paid the next month. So having some of those challenges, it just keeps you much more attuned to where you're at each time of the year, different months and the like.
Is the market where you thought it was? Are you doing the...
We're surprised, actually. It's even more in the pocket of where we thought it was going to be.
Right.
We put a lot of research into who our potential competitors were and what the opportunities were, what the market was, who was looking at the... I should explain, we're looking at residential architecture.
Indeed.
So higher end houses and medium density developments. And that market's quite interesting in that where we're at with this global financial crisis, or coming in, depending on which expert
what time
you
is it
speak
today?
to. Yeah, what time is it today? We're finding that a lot of people aren't wanting to sell their property anymore and move on to another property. They're actually looking at redeveloping their own site. So whether that be extending their own home or building a new home on their current block, we're finding a lot of that. And that's right in the middle of where our market is. So I guess we're a little bit surprised that there is such a strong market for that. The other side to that is there doesn't seem to be a lot of people providing that degree of architectural finish that we're offering, particularly on the coast. If you're wanting that sort of finish, you really have to go to Sydney to a large extent. There's a few areas in the lower part of the coast which are doing quite well. There's some great architects down there. But generally speaking, there's certainly not a lot of people in this market providing that service.
Right time, right space.
Right time, right space. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. So the next 12 months, more of the same, or?
Yeah, look, as an architect, your projects are generally 1 to 2 years before you actually see the finished product. So the first 12 months for us has been really building that brand and building that awareness and starting to get some projects on the ground. We're starting to have our first couple of them built now. We're just about 12 months into our business, so it's perfect timing for where we thought we'd be. A couple of those buildings are just about to start getting built. So I guess the next phase for us is having those buildings realised and having more come online so that we've got a portfolio of work that you can actually see. I mean, it's great to have drawings and sketches and models and things made, but actually seeing the building is
So all of a sudden your website starts to blossom.
It starts to grow, and part of our
buildings.
marketing there is also so that that understanding of how we go about our process is seeing what's happening on our website from beginning to end. So we start off with sketches and initial concepts, which turn to models, which turn to more resolved drawings, and then as we go through this building process on some of these projects, you'll start to see the buildings in their final form, and we'll keep all of those images all the way on our website as well.
It's a great sales tool.
Yeah. It just helps to take a lot of the mystique out of the process, I guess.
Yeah. Because you are artists after all. You're craftsmen and.
Yeah, we're trained in the arts. We're trained.
So
is
that how you position yourself? Like mentally, are you an artist?
Definitely. We go through a pretty intensive training exercise through university, through particularly the first 3 years, where a lot of our preconceptions are broken down. And what that training does is that it teaches you to think about things in a different way, but also teaches you to think about things in a lateral way. So you're looking at multiple processes, which is what an artist typically would do, to bring together a solution to a site. So in that respect, certainly. And traditionally, Leonardo da Vinci was one of the world's best architects, as well as one of the world's best artists.
Interestingly, we're here because Jamie Sargent said, hey, these are cool guys. And an artist, innovator, designer, whatever Jamie is, he's an extraordinary character.
Yeah, he is.
So at this point, you've been on the Central Coast for
about 12 years now.
Yeah, so you've seen a fair bit of what's going on. You've just branched out, started a new business. If you could change something now under the disguise of what gets up your nose, or you kind of look at it and say, well, I wish I could go like that. Is there, and it probably in a business sense, what would that be when you?
I guess one of the key things that I want to change is the ability to get rid of a lot of the red tape in the process, particularly of architecture and buildings. I think architecture affects everybody pretty much, whether it be through houses, through commercial buildings, through industrial buildings, through everything. And there still is a lot of red tape around the process in order to physically get to the next step and be able to build something. So in terms of changing things, certainly from where we're at, we're now finding quite innovative ways to work with the planning controls that are currently out there to be able to get outcomes quite quickly. And there's a whole range of legislation that's changing now with the current state government and past state governments as well that are allowing that. But there's still a lot of work to do. So I guess the biggest thing that's impacting our business is being able to have that 3 months that could turn into 6 months, that could be 12 months for an approval process through councils and the like to actually be brought down to something more logical. It'd be nice to get something out in 10, 15 days.
Yeah.
That's a hope.
We won't hold our breath. Talking about skills, you've been here 12 years. You've evolved your talent on the Central Coast. Do we have a platform for training young architects here on the coast, or?
I think there's some good operators around the coast, as I mentioned, particularly down that southern part of the coast. The difficulty is most of the people who are in that market are smaller organisations, and it's hard to bring in good training for a lot of people. Yeah. Architecture really needs a one-on-one because there's so much involved in the process, so much from building on site to design to dealing with councils. There's a very broad experience that you need, and if you have organisations that can provide that background training, that works very well. We don't have a large amount of that on the coast anymore. There was in years gone by, but not a lot at the moment. However, the flip side of that is when people do move into the coast and have that training from a small organisation, if they can get lucky enough to pick that up, the opportunities are phenomenal. We've got some of the most amazing sites here on the coast in all of New South Wales, all of Australia probably. And those opportunities are stunning, particularly for budding young architects.
Andrew, the NBN is 6 months, well, the commencement is 6 months away. In the artistic creative area, you produce stuff and you can ship it anywhere. Well, that's the promise now. Will the NBN change the way you you can work, or where your footprint is, do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think so, definitely. The NBN offers someone like us an opportunity to work in much larger circles. At the moment, our work is the Hunter, Sydney, Central Coast, and out west slightly. But as long as we can get to a site to go and see the site a couple of times, once we've been there and been through that process of site analysis, we don't have to be out there again until we're actually dealing with the contracts on site. So for instance, a lot of our ideas and our concepts, we can start to work with people from here, the Central Coast, and we can be farming a lot of that information backwards and forwards and streaming the information live. I mean, it'd be fantastic to be able to sit there with a tablet and be able to actually be drawing and sketching while the client's actually on site, pointing and looking at what they're wanting to do out on site. In the middle of the desert, for instance, take it extreme.
Yeah, no.
But no, certainly, it means that we can actually operate in that environment.
Okay.
And having a lot of our projects have very large file formats, and we need a lot of information sort of backwards and forwards. We use the internet as an incredible tool just for resources and information. So having a fast stream of information or access to that information is key to us. We've got to get things pretty quickly to us.
So would Dixon White develop that technology, or would you be looking for someone to...
Look, I think we'd be looking at someone to assist us in some of those areas. We're specialists in what we're specialists in.
Indeed.
So we'd be wanting to make sure that we had the right people to explain how to go.
Fantastic. All right.